afraid that I can't say anything right now.
Everybody, this is dkdynamite, and today what I have for you guys is a fairly long video, my official review of DLC 5, aka Zombies Chronicles within Black Ops 3. School is finally out. I have many plans for the summer, including a shit ton of new videos and several streams as well. Now I have about a dozen points that I want to cover here within this review, and a lot of these points have to do with the zombie storyline, recent interviews with Jason Blundell, and more. So let's jump right into it. So yes, everybody's dream finally came true. DLC 5 was officially teased, then revealed by JC Backfire and Jason Blundell himself, with a release on May 16th first on PlayStation 4, and then around a month later for Xbox and PC users as well. The map pack is absolutely phenomenal. It's everything that I hoped it would be. So, the first thing I wanted to cover was about Treyarch throwing a lot at us at one time. They, of course, confirmed DLC 5 with JC Backfire, but then also revealed the official Zombies timeline, something that the hardcore Zombies community has wanted for years now. And I talked about this a little bit before, but let me jump into it more within this video. So in my opinion, the reason why they not only confirmed DLC 5 and then released the Zombies timeline was because they're about to throw a lot at us in 2018, at least in my opinion. So in Treyarch's eyes, they figured, why not close up a lot of loose ends from this 8-year saga? Jason Blundell considered Revelations brackets to the entire zombie storyline. Not the end, but what I would consider the end of maybe just one loop or one cycle. Essentially book one of a ongoing series that will continue for as long as Treyarch works on zombies. So with that being said, the timeline really went in and cleared up a lot of things that Revelations just didn't do. And I talked about this in my Revelations review. The map itself was pretty cool. I really enjoyed it. The gameplay was very smooth on that map, aside from all the bugs and glitches. But in terms of the name itself, Revelations, it didn't end everything that I hoped it would in terms of a lot of the loose ends and just open storylines that weren't focused on too much within Black Ops 1, 2, and 3, or even World at War perhaps. So the timeline really went in, dug deep into those plot holes, dug deep into a lot of those mysteries that our community has had for years, and cleared it all up. So with that being said, it allows Treyarch to now move forward with new storylines, developing new questions, new characters, things like that to further the zombie storyline. So in the background, I of course have gameplay from all 8 maps. I've included some of my best footage from all of the remasters here within DLC 5. I also wanted to mention that I'm really hoping for Treyarch to release official merchandise for Zombies Chronicles now that the map pack is officially released on Xbox Live and PC. Maybe they'll end up releasing Zombies Chronicles t-shirts, either the standard t-shirt as Jason Blundell wore when he revealed it with JC Backfire, the Black Ops 3 t-shirt with the red letters Zombies Chronicles at the bottom, or the actual zombie hand with all the maps within it. Maybe they'll do t-shirts like that. I know they gave them away to the big YouTubers when they went to the event at Treyarch Studios to play and record early footage of DLC 5, so since they got the t-shirts, maybe the community will get access to them on the Call of Duty Online store sometime in the next couple of weeks. That's what I'm hoping for. But recent updates to Black Ops 3 include a lot of new bug fixes, many supply drop items, including the AK-74U and the M1911 DLC weapons, which I'll be talking about in a little bit. We also had 2 community challenges, one granting us with a new exclusive calling card and the Revelations Pack-a-Punch camo, the purple one of course. And we then got new PlayStation 4 themes along with purchasing Zombies Chronicles, and they also released another one that was, I believe, free on the PlayStation Store. We also got a second community challenge, which granted us with the other Revelations Pack-a-Punch camo, the green Cosmic camo, which of course required the same amount of headshots as the first one did, which was, I believe, 500 million. So, along with that, there's been plenty of new content within Black Ops 3, which is phenomenal. And I talked about this before, but the reason why I never focused too much on Modern Warfare Remastered when it came out is because I was never truly finished with Black Ops 3. And that's the truth. When DLC 4 came out and we completed the Revelations Easter egg, we played the multiplayer maps, I didn't feel finished with the game yet. Not only posted my DLC 4 coverage late, but I just wasn't complete with Black Ops 3. There was something missing. I knew there was something that I had to do with the game. And when Treyarch came out in December and said that there was going to be new updates and content releasing for the game in 2017, I knew that there was something going on. They were going to be releasing something in 2017 for the community. And not just because they're passionate about the Call of Duty community, but Infinite Warfare didn't perform too well. Activision saw that early on, before the game even released. They saw how bad the trailer got disliked. They saw the pre-order sales were down. So, what they ended up confirming was that 2017 will essentially be a very unique year for Call of Duty, where you have 3 active games. You have Black Ops 3, Modern Warfare Remastered, and Infinite Warfare. With Black Ops 3, we only saw multiplayer updates for the most part, along with a couple community challenges, but then they of course revealed Zombies Chronicles for the hardcore Zombies community. So aside from that, the remasters themselves are absolutely phenomenal, just fantastic, featuring all the goblins of course. We do have new little side quests here and there on each of the maps, like Samantha's Lullaby, the Space Dog, which has finally come true after all these years of people talking about it. It's actually a side Easter egg on Moon. We have the Shadow Man popping up on Ascension, and we also have new Dr. Monty radios on each of the maps to essentially establish and reconfirm the idea that all the original maps are still canon. Jason Blundell did not erase or reboot the zombie storyline and start fresh with Black Ops 3. He did not overwrite a lot of the storylines with Black Ops 3. He simply took this small piece of the storyline, which was the Aurelia and this ancient evil, and focused heavily on it within Black Ops 3. He gave a name and a face to this ancient evil, and with that allowed a lot of the things that didn't make sense within the zombie storyline to make sense, to connect everything together, to give more depth and character development to a lot of people within the zombie storyline that weren't focused on too much throughout World at War, Black Ops 1, and Black Ops 2. So I'm going to put an image on screen of this Reddit post that I paid a lot of attention to because it really got me thinking. A lot of the Dr. Monty radios within these Zombies Chronicles maps sound like they're referencing the biggest memes within the Zombies community. And on Not Through Untold, he says, I think there was fog, not a lot of it, certainly not coming into the building itself. So that sounds like a reference to the fog rolling enemy that we've created for Jason Blundell. On Shino Numa, he goes and says, Shino Numa, did I say that right? I've not really put the effort into learning Japanese. So this sounds like a huge reference to the meme that we made for Dr. Richtofen when he says, I'm sorry, I don't speak Japanese. So it could just be a coincidence, but if it isn't, that's just fantastic that Treyarch put so much time and effort into showing the community that they're listening to us. They pay attention to all the memes that we make, all the complaints that we have, and so on. So one more thing I wanted to bring up in terms of the Jason Blundell interviews is how he was asked whether or not the DLC 5 maps, the remasters, are taking place within the Ultimates era. Are they just remasters, gameplay-wise, of the maps we saw in World at War, Black Ops 1, and Black Ops 2? Or are they a part of this fracture since the maps, of course, feature different weapons, gobblegums, other little side quests, you name it. And he didn't want to answer on that, but in my opinion, I do believe that these remasters were put there, I would say, more for gameplay, not necessarily story. And when I say that, I'm saying, like Blundell said himself, it's to catch people up on what's been going on within Zombies overall. And to get more of an understanding of the characters we're killing within Black Ops 3's DLC season. Who we're killing, why we're killing them, what significance they have within the zombie storyline. That's why I feel Zombies Chronicles exists. But in terms of storyline itself, the maps weren't there, or put there I should say, to further anything more than what Revelations did in Black Ops 3. But it gives us more of an understanding of these characters. These new side quests give us new insight on the timeline. But I do believe that it is part of this fracture. They may not be focused on within the Big Zombies timeline at all, but for gameplay reasons and aesthetics, the map has gobblegums, sliding, different weapons, and these side quests that weren't there, obviously, within World at War, Black Ops 1, and Black Ops 2. In terms of the Shadow Man popping up and being referenced in Moon, Ascension, and other maps, I believe that that's simply there to also reestablish the idea that the ancient evil's always been there. Regardless if the Apothicons had influence on the original timeline, the Shadow Man was always there. That's the idea. The voice in Rick Tuffin's head, the ancient evil, was of course the Shadow Man. And that's of course linked to the Apothicons. So, going off that, that is why these small references were added in to the original maps, just to get us thinking about what eventually came with the zombie storyline. So, aside from DLC 5 itself now, as I've said, the maps are beautiful. They are a little buggy, a couple of glitches here and there, which we'll talk about later on. But aside from the gameplay part of DLC 5. Now, next up, I wanted to discuss the community a little bit. Their responses to DLC 5. Before the map pack even released, and this is honestly hilarious, because I can talk a lot about this, but I'm going to break it down to as little as possible. So, at first, when DLC 5 was confirmed and officially revealed to us, people of course complained about several things. First up, Mob of the Dead not being included, Noctur Untoden being included, because we of course have many remakes of this map already, and other maps like Call of the Dead, 5, and the Transit maps not being included. The complaint about PhD Flopper not returning, and so on. So, here's how I'll break this down. First, Mob of the Dead. Okay, I love the map. It's absolutely wonderful. The gameplay is just near perfect on that map. The Easter egg is what I would consider perfect. The flow of that Easter egg, with how it furthers the story, develops these characters more, and brings us closer to an understanding of what's going on within this cycle for zombies. So, the map would be absolutely wonderful on next gen. It really would, or I should say current gen, excuse me. The map would be wonderful. But the fact that it didn't include it in Zombies Chronicles tells you something. And what Blundell has said has been very interesting. He said he is sure there is another purpose for that map in the future. He said it didn't thematically fit the pack. And it's clear what Zombies Chronicles is. As I just said, it brings us up to speed. It brings people who didn't play the previous games, it brings those people up to speed on what's been going on with the Ultimus characters. The DLC is focused on Ultimus. Whether or not the maps take place in the Ultimus timeline is up for debate, but the maps focus on the Ultimus characters that we end up killing in Black Ops 3. It allows people to understand what we're actually doing in Black Ops 3. And the maps are wonderful, but as I said, the maps are not focused on the Mob crew, the Transit crew, the 5 crew, or the Call of the Dead crew. It's not focused on those people. It's focused on Dempsey, Nikolai, Rick Toffin, and Takio. That's very clear. So to put Mob of the Dead in there is, yes, a little odd. It would kind of feel out of place, and what I'm sure is that either Treyarch will fill in the remaining spot within the Black Ops 3 map list. As we know, and as you can see, there is one more spot left for an additional zombie map in Black Ops 3. So I have a couple theories here. First, either it's going to be this remaster, aka the Giant, of Treyarch's next Call of Duty, a pre-order bonus, let's say, or a season pass bonus, or a pre-order bonus for pre-ordering Treyarch's next game will grant you with a Mob of the Dead code to be used within Black Ops 3. That's just my theory right now. I believe the first opinion that I have, or theory I should say, is probably more likely it'll be a pre-order bonus for the next game, essentially the Giant of Treyarch's next game. Or, like I said, they could just be put in Black Ops 3 later on as a DLC 6, or whatever they want to call it. We'll just have to wait and see. But I do believe Mob of the Dead will return at some point, whether as a remaster or a remake, or maybe it'll be really expanded upon. Not just a remake like the Giant was with new quotes and new characters, but Blundell has said that the map was going to be a lot bigger than it originally was. And they had to cut it down, of course, for hardware limitations, but with the options and the capabilities that the current gen system has, they could really go past what they originally did. They can open up the docks more, add a new area of the map, maybe bring Invictus and connect more of that storyline in this new Mob of the Dead. Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. But I do believe we'll return at some point. But right now, it just didn't fit with Zombies Chronicles. Now, in terms of Nocturne Untold, okay, I get it. We had the Black Ops 1 port. We had the map essentially return within transit, within Black Ops 2. And we, of course, had the map in Revelations. The entire map was in Revelations. I get it, but once again, the purpose of DLC 5, Zombies Chronicles, is to focus on Ultimates, all the maps that they were featured on. We didn't miss any of the maps they were featured on, unless you want to consider Call of the Dead one of them, since they were, of course, behind that locked door. But all the maps in DLC 5 are literally all the maps they were focused on. Literally every single map. So leave out Nocturne Untold for the sake of the community's hatred, I would say, and ignorance. It would have just been stupid. It really would have been. Just in my opinion. But other maps like 5 and Call of the Dead, they may return at some point. Maybe in Treyarch's next game they'll do DLC 5 again, and they'll bring us the remaining maps. Nuketown Zombies, 5, Call of the Dead. We'll just have to wait and see. And the transit maps, of course. What I think is that if Treyarch's next game focuses on Victus again, the transit crew, then maybe they'll end up remastering Transit, Die Rise, and Barry, just for the sake of bring people up to speed with those characters. That would make sense. We'll just have to wait and see. But what I think is that Blundell is essentially closing off the Transit storyline with his comic book, and I'll be talking about that very soon. And the comic book is great. I think it allows the timeline to make more sense. The timeline does reference a lot of those events that happen in the comics, but to see it on paper with actual pictures is great. We get to get a better understanding of that. The new loading screens are a different story. I'll be talking about that later on as well. But now in terms of PhD Flopper, this is where things get interesting. So I'm not one of those PhD fanboys where I was complaining all over the place about bringing the perk back in Zombies Chronicles, or saying that the maps aren't authentic if they don't have PhD. How can you replace it with Widow's Wine? We have this fall damage, splash damage, all this different shit. Here's what I think about PhD. As Blundell said, the fact we don't have dolphin diving in Black Ops 3 kills the idea of PhD. That's essentially what he said at first. And something he didn't mention, but I honestly think, is that there aren't enough explosive weapons in Black Ops 3 to need PhD, to need a perk that really prevents splash damage when using, let's say, the Bloodhound Pack-a-Punch on Shadows of Evil, the meat wagon, or when you Pack-a-Punch, what is the MR6 that grants you with a new version of Mustang and Sally. And we might even get Mustang and Sally again once Treyarch releases that in 1911 into Zombies Chronicles. So there aren't that many weapons that need a PhD. We of course have the Gobblegum that essentially is a supplement for that. That Gobblegum of course being danger closest, but the problem with that is the Gobblegum activates immediately, only lasts 3 full rounds, and you can still take damage from the Insanity Elementals. Now, one of the Elementals is, of course, the Meatballs on Shadows of Evil. So don't get me wrong, the Gobblegum works. It's useful, but I feel like that was the best route to go with Black Ops 3. With the weapon selection and the fact that you can't dolphin dive, there just wouldn't be a need for a perk that prevents explosive damage when there's only, what, 2 or 3 explosive weapons in the game, not including the DLC weapons like the L4 Siege and the Mark II. You guys get what I'm saying? So, yes, to be authentic and to be realistic with these remasters of classic maps, to give us the most similar gameplay experience and feel as they can to the originals, would mean they should bring PhD, but with the weapon selection and the sliding mechanic, it just wouldn't make sense. Now, I know people would say, oh, well, if PC modders and map builders can make a workaround for it, then Treyarch could too. They could make it where every time you slide, you'll have that PhD explosion around you, but you can only do it, what, 4 or 5 times, then you have to grab the power-up off the ground, similar to the Widow's Wine Grenade pickups in order to use it again. That's essentially what Slaughter Slide is. It also auto-activates when you pick it up, and it auto-activates when you slide. You only get 6 activations, which create 2 lethal explosions by sliding. And again, it's cool, I've used it a couple times, but that would essentially be your PhD replacement when it comes to sending a lethal explosion around you every time you slide versus every time you dolphin dive within Black Ops 1. So, yes, PhD didn't return in Black Ops 2 except for, I believe it was Cell Block Grief on Mob of the Dead and within Origins. Yes, the Dolphin Dive explosion was cool, but again, in Black Ops 3, the way the zombies spawn, would it really be useful? That's the thing. People complain about bringing it back, but I don't think people really realize whether or not it would be useful within a game like Black Ops 3. Another thing I wanted to bring up really quickly was one of the reasons why Treyarch didn't bring any more new perks within Black Ops 3. I believe they had many ideas for new perks for the game. Widow's Wine, of course, was one of them, but a lot of them were really thrown in as gobblegums. That's just my theory here. So another way that I can support that theory is the fact that perks like PhD and Vulture Aid were essentially split. The features of the perk were split amongst a couple of different gobblegums. So I already talked about PhD. When we look at Vulture Aid or even Tombstone, we can say, hey, Tombstone was essentially brought back in the form of Arms Grace, that gobblegum, which allows you to completely bleed out and then spawn in the next round with your same armory, the same weapon you had, and I believe whatever equipment you had as well. It's pretty cool. It works, but again, it's not the exact same as Tombstone, where you would spawn in the next round with nothing and you'd have to go and find your Tombstone, and once you pick it up, you'd be granted with your original weapons. So, Arms Grace lasts until next respawn, and yes, you specifically respawn with the guns the player had when they bled out. So it doesn't include, I believe, your secondary or third weapon, but correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't really used Arms Grace before. But when you look at Vulture Aid and you think about, okay, well, what gobblegums allow you to stand in a mist, be unseen by zombies, and then gain ammo and cash every time you kill a zombie? We can look at gobblegums like In Plain Sight, where the zombies just won't be able to see you once you activate it. And we have another gobblegum, Stock Option, which lasts 2.5 minutes. Ammo is taken from the player's stockpile instead of their weapons magazine, which allows players to spam single round weapons such as the XM53 or Apothecant Servant, gaining ammo back, which is great. And it's not exactly the same as how Vulture Aid worked, but essentially split 2 of the features of that perk and created gobblegums out of it. So with that being said, I believe some of the more powerful gobblegums were going to be perk ideas, but Treyarch looked at it as, you know, more of a gobblegum option to include within a map pack or to include for free or whatever it may be. So I do believe that a gobblegum's return in Treyarch's next game will probably see 1 or 2 more perks, or maybe 1 new perk every new map that comes out, but at most 1 or 2 more perks, and everything else probably be implemented as a new gobblegum or whatever it may be, whatever microtransaction features in Treyarch's next game. We'll just have to wait and see. But like I said, that's probably the reason why new perks weren't really included within the new Black Ops 3 map, so I wanted to bring that up real quick. But next up, what I wanted to discuss was the idea of other characters not being important. So like I said, DLC 5 focuses on Ultimus. That's the core idea. In terms of Victus, they of course were focused on within the 3 transit maps in Black Ops 2, and they're being heavily focused on within the Zombies comic, as they of course connected to the Chronicles storyline. Now next up, we're going to be talking about the M1911 and the AK-74U. So as I said, and I wanted to briefly remind you guys, it's not only a review for DLC 5, but also a news roundup of everything that's been going on within the Zombies community over the past couple of weeks, and since the official release of Zombies Chronicles. So as I was mentioning earlier, the M1911 and the AK-74U are of course DLC weapons within Black Ops 3 multiplayer. They were added into the supply drop system a couple of weeks ago, a part of the May contraband, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. And once these weapons were added in, a lot of people, including myself, were wondering, is this really a joke? When the YouTubers uploaded early gameplay of the Zombies Chronicles maps, the M1911 was not the starting pistol, the AK-74U was not in the box or on the wall, and we all know the AK-74U had many chalk drawings across many Black Ops 1 maps. So when we saw they were absent from DLC 5, but somehow included in multiplayer, people were thinking, how in the fuck does this make sense? The starting pistol of literally every Zombies map is not in Zombies Chronicles, but it's in multiplayer. And I didn't complain much, but I was just a little concerned as to what Treyarch was thinking. And Blundell, of course, cleared this up in one of his interviews with, I believe, Noah J456, and again with Zombros, with Reed and MC Sports Talk. He mentioned that the weapons just weren't ready for Zombies Chronicles. They had to be tested more, there wasn't enough time, and what they decided on was to release these weapons with Black Ops 3's next title update after the release of DLC 5 on Xbox Live and PC. That makes sense. Treyarch tweeted something out to leave on screen for you guys to see, which confirmed that yes, the weapons will be coming to Zombies Chronicles soon. Treyarch knew that the community would bitch a lot about these weapons not being in Zombies, but for some reason are in supply drops. I actually managed to earn both those weapons from supply drops. I'll include some gameplay on screen so you can see. The weapons are great. I do have a plan this summer to upload many class setups of all the DLC weapons within Black Ops 3 multiplayer, so I didn't get to do that last summer because I was very busy with a lot of my DLC coverage for Black Ops 3's map pack season. So that'll be my plan for the rest of the summer in terms of Black Ops 3 multiplayer. But again, I get it, the weapons weren't ready for testing. People really shouldn't bitch about that. You could be concerned like I was, or like anybody else was if they're respectful. But in terms of the M1911, again, I love it, it's classic. It was a starting pistol on all the original zombie maps, so it makes sense to put it in Zombies Chronicles. I get that, but what in the fuck is the big deal? The MR6 is not too different from the M19 in terms of its statistics, its damage, its range. It just looks different, it sounds different, it may feel a little different, but in terms of its usefulness on rounds, what, 1 through 6 or 1 through 7, it's almost the same fucking thing. It is almost the same. What is the big deal? People look at it as, oh, well, you know, it couldn't have been that much work to bring over all the classic weapons into Zombies Chronicles, and people have no fucking clue. Even if you're not a developer, you can understand this. It is not easy to port those kind of weapons over. And it's not just porting or reskinning weapons and calling it a day. No, the weapons have to be tested on every map, every possibility, every type of kill you can get, aiming, you know, modeling the weapon for each character on their hands, just all this different shit. So it's not easy to go and say, you should have brought back the crossbow or the 5.7 or this or that. It's not that easy. And think about this too. If Activision saw how much time was being put into making, or not making, but remastering these older weapons for Zombies Chronicles, they would have said, hey, well, Treyarch, don't forget to put them in supply drops for multiplayer. You know, it's a whole different fucking cup of tea right there. They have to go and port and test and model all these weapons for all the type of possibilities in multiplayer too. So it's not easy. We have no idea what goes on behind closed doors. I'm just making theories here, but what I can say for sure is a fact is that it's not easy to bring these weapons over. So we should be grateful that we got weapons like the M16 and the Galil, which I'll also be covering later this summer as well, in multiplayer. So they brought those weapons back in Zombies, which makes perfect sense. But things like the ballistic knife didn't make their return, even though it's in multiplayer right now. Who knows, maybe it'll also be included in the next title update as a surprise for us zombie fans. We just have to wait and see. But the way the community responded to that was, in my opinion, fairly disgusting. That's just my opinion. But my only request from Treyarch right now for the future of Zombies, even if it's a month from now or a few months from now, before their next game, include new weapon kits. In Black Ops 3 Zombies, we have all these DLC weapons in Zombies right now, like the FFAR, the Galil, the ballistic knife, and even the damn MR6, which doesn't even have a weapon kit. Bring us weapon kits so we can customize it with attachments and camos. Allow us to customize these weapons so we can grab them from the box and be happy with how they feel. But if they don't ever do it, then okay, I understand. Maybe there's a limitation to it, maybe there's an issue with doing that. I'm not too sure, but that would be my only request for Zombies in the next couple of updates, I would say. So, I also wanted to bring up that I will be uploading plenty of episodes of Zombies tips and tutorials for all the maps that require them. So, I am planning on streaming the World at War maps, since they are fairly basic maps. They're just great to play for fun. So I'll be doing some high rounds on the World at War maps in an upcoming stream. I'll be doing my Zombies Easter egg tribute for Call of Duty Zombies in the next couple of weeks, I would say, maybe in the next month at the latest. I was planning on doing it a lot earlier, but with the teasing of DLC 5, I had a feeling that we would get remasters of the original zombie maps. So why not wait till the maps come out, record new footage of the old Easter eggs so they look nice for the video, and go from there. I of course have plenty of footage of the Moon Easter egg, the Ascension Easter egg, and Origins from PlayStation 3, but now that they're remastered on PS4, I have now recorded plenty of new and beautiful footage of these Easter eggs, just so I can include it within my Easter egg Zombies tribute, really covering each and every Easter egg, showing you how much time I put into each of them, explaining them, talking about the significance of the story with each Easter egg, so on and so forth. That'll be coming up very, very soon, I promise that. But I, of course, will be doing zombie tips and tutorials for maps like, you know, Shangri-La and Moon, which have new side quests. We have the Samantha's Lullaby, the Space Dog, so many cool things to show you guys and cover here on my channel. That'll be coming up very, very soon. I also wanted to bring up the idea of new game modes within Black Ops 3 Zombies. So people complain about the lack of game modes, the lack of replayability, no grief, no turn, what the fuck. So what I want to say about that is how Blundell mentioned back in their December live stream that Black Ops 3 in 2017 is essentially a live beta for what's to come in the future. A feature like Newton's Cookbook is probably going to be in Treyarch's next game, but what they wanted to do was see how the community reacted to it now within Black Ops 3 so they know how to fix it and essentially polish it for their next game. That's what I think they could do with new game modes like Grief or some other ideas we haven't even thought of yet. So they could essentially bring us a vision of this new game mode they have planned. Maybe not panned out completely, but something similar to their upcoming plan now within Black Ops 3 so that we can add feedback to that and they can then polish it, like I said, for their next game. That's just my opinion on how they can handle new game modes right now in Black Ops 3. But like I said, it's icing on the cake for what's been releasing for Black Ops 3 in 2017. We already have new weapons in multiplayer, we have new customization options, we have DLC 5 for fuck's sake, but the icing on the cake would be this new replayability for Zombies players. Not just the older maps, but new game modes to be played on some of these maps. It would give use to the audio files that were found in Revelations, this Dr. Monty versus the Shadow Man announcer quotes that we found in the code. It would also be similar to how we had the Rick Tuffin versus Max's storyline in Black Ops 2. Things like that I think would be fantastic in Black Ops 3, but if not, they could just save those announcer quotes, the Dr. Monty versus Shadow Man game mode quotes I should say, for their next game. It would still work depending on how they go with the storyline, but it would also be something that sort of sort of shifts away from this huge storyline focus that we have within Black Ops 3. Blundell has said himself in the past that he has tried and played with new game modes, but it didn't fit with the story. And something I feel about that is that the new game modes shouldn't fit with the story. They should just be simply for fun, for replayability, for the sake of playing the game. Not everything has to be canon. And that's something that I think is an issue with Blundell's view on Call of Duty Zombies altogether. And not to say that it's bad, but like I said, things like the chalk buys and perks and the pack-a-punch all are literally canon within the Big Zombies timeline. So, to also build off that, I am planning on purchasing a huge Zombies timeline poster to be framed and put on my wall. At the end of this video, I'll be showing you guys my current setup with my Zombies perks that I made and some posters that I put up. But I am planning on adding a huge Zombies timeline poster in the center of my room as well. So I'm assuming Treyarch's not going to end up selling it on Call of Duty's website, but people have of course made pretty beautiful duplicates and replicas of this timeline that is of course being sold right now on eBay and many other sites as well. So apart from that, on Zombros, this is something that I wanted to discuss as well. Blundell dropped some other bombshells, debunking the Revelations Super Easter egg. He of course explained transit and why the map was the map that it was, and talks about this unfound Easter egg, which he plans on revealing to us in the next 8 years, just how he did with the unfound Easter egg on World at War. He also talks about what is actually canon in terms of the iOS games, the Nightmares mode, and Dead Ops Arcade, and so on. So, first up, the Revelations Super Easter egg. This is something that is, of course, still going to cause a lot of controversy for as long as I can think. But the Super Easter egg was essentially this overly hyped theory that people had when we weren't satisfied with the ending of Revelations. Now, Blundell talks a lot about how the Origins ending is very similar to Revelations because people didn't understand it at first and people didn't know what to expect next. Now, yes, it's similar, but I feel it's a little different on a couple of different levels. First, it's not that we didn't understand the Origins ending cutscene. We weren't really disappointed with it. We were just concerned with what it meant for the future, yes. But I feel like the Revelations ending is not like that. It's not that we don't understand what's really going on. Maybe we don't. But it's more of, is it underwhelming for this ending of Call of Duty Zombies? And another thing is that people look at Revelations as the end. People were making montages and goodbye videos as if Zombies is over. Zombies will never be over for as long as Activision holds on to Call of Duty and for as long as Treyarch is developing Call of Duty. But Blundell has also said many times, Revelations is actually putting brackets around the Zombies storyline. Brackets. Complete stop or a close to Zombies, but brackets, which makes me think that their next game is going to focus on either a new timeline, a new set of characters, or something else entirely. Not to say that this timeline is over with, but the significance it serves won't be as heavy as it was now within Treyarch's next game. That's just my theory at the moment. So Revelations is not the end. It shouldn't be considered the end, because it's silly to think so. Because if it was, and I know it wasn't, that's already a fact, but if it was, then what kind of ending would that be? But in terms of the ending cutscene we got at the end of the Easter egg, I'm pretty sure it's going to serve this huge significance within Treyarch's next game in some way, shape, or form. Just as we learned how Zombies is not a children's game with toys. We also learned that the cutscene of Origins at the very end takes place right after Garad Krovi and before Revelations. That's very important to think about. So maybe Revelations ending cutscene will somehow take place in a very unique spot within Treyarch's next DLC season, or maybe it'll be looked upon from somebody else's eyes or somebody else's shoes. We'll just have to see in Treyarch's next game. But again, I do agree with Blundell on how it'll be appreciated and understood more in their next game, but at the same time, when comparing it to the ending of Origins, it's more underwhelming than misunderstood. when comparing the ending of Revelations to the ending of Origins. Now, in terms of the community hyping up this super Easter egg, like I said, I believe that there was certainly a lot of possibilities with these unfound cross-map quests and shit, but the problem with that is there's so many dead ends, so many cut Easter eggs that feature content that hasn't been removed from the game, like the dead Margot Heart, the purple meatballs, shit like that. So, with that in mind, there's just so many loose ends to Black Ops 3 Zombies, like the chicken coop Easter egg on Revelations, finding things in the code that don't make sense, like the announcer quotes, shit that we won't ever understand until Treyarch actually says something about it. But for the time being, we can just consider it cut content. There is no super major Easter egg, this cross-map quest that we haven't found yet. I think there may be a couple little things in there, but that's about it. Anything else we find right now is essentially a dead end or a cut Easter egg. So that's why people were confused with what could have been this cross-map quest that we haven't found yet. But in terms of Transit, I talked about this a little bit earlier, but Transit again was the map that it could have been. Denizens slowed us down for a reason, to allow the rest of the map to load the render files that the map has. It's so big, and it could have been great, but it just didn't pan out. I think that's why the Easter egg was also a little weak, as I would say, within Transit as well. I think there was a huge vision for this Zielinski had, and Jimmy Zielinski was, again, a great developer, a great leader of Zombies at the time, but Blundell said himself that Treyarch just couldn't go through with making the map that it could have been. But again, it's certainly a remaster option, I would say, for the future. People hate it so much, but if you look at the reasons why, those reasons could easily be fixed with a beautiful remaster on current gen hardware. At least that's what I see in my eyes. But in terms of the unfound Easter egg that people have been talking about for a while, I don't think it's something major at all. It's not this cross-map quest we've been waiting for. I think it's something similar to the World at War bios that were recently found. But the significance of that is that they hid something from us, and they also hid it from the code. They know we're going into the code looking for things. They know how to hide them now using new hardware and some new software, as they've said. So with that, I'm very sure that in the next couple of years, Blundell will come out and say, hey, you missed this, or you walked past this and didn't realize it does this. Shit like that, as he did with the Unfound World at War Easter egg that they finally revealed to us. We were finally able to find it and understand it, and it was really cool. It wasn't this big thing, but it was really interesting to see how Treyarch hides things from us. So with that in mind, who knows how much we've missed within any of the Treyarch Call of Duty games. Now in terms of what's canon, he did confirm that the iOS games, Nightmares and Dead Ops, are not canon, which helps us a lot with understanding the Zombies timeline. There was already so much confusion with how the timeline works, with fractures, the multiverse, 115 displacement, all this different shit that these other games out there, they were published by Activision, or other game modes like Dead Ops and Nightmares, it would be confusing to understand how they fit in with the already convoluted zombie storyline. But thank God they aren't canon, it's just there for gameplay purposes, and that's why I think new game modes in Call of Duty Zombies should also be for gameplay purposes, not necessarily this canon for the storyline altogether. So coming to the end of this huge video I had for you guys, not only have I included so much gameplay of Zombies Chronicles, and not only have I talked about the map pack itself, but I'm also going through and breaking down all the latest information we have from Treyarch and the community themselves. So this argument about Zombies Chronicles not being DLC 5, this is very funny, and I wanted to bring this up real quick. People argue, well, if you thought DLC 5 was happening, you're still wrong, because Zombies Chronicles is not DLC 5. It's not labeled DLC 5. Blundell said this isn't DLC 5, this is something else. Here's what I have to say about that. You have to be more than fucking retarded to even think about that. First of all, look at it this way. Is Zombies Chronicles the 5th DLC pack for Black Ops 3, even though it isn't labeled DLC 5. Is it the 5th DLC pack? Is it a downloadable content pack of maps for Black Ops 3? How else do I break it down for you? How else can you understand that? I just don't get it. It's very simple, right then and there, to say that Zombies Chronicles is the 5th DLC pack. What I could say is that Black Ops 3 is currently out of season, which is why Zombies Chronicles is not covered by the Season Pass. The Season Pass covers DLCs 1 through 4, DLC 5 released after that season, making it a separate purchase for $30 fucking. It's actually quite simple to understand, but either people are too ignorant or they're simply joking when it comes to understanding what Zombies Chronicles is for Black Ops 3. But as I end off this video, I want to quickly talk a little bit more about something I touched a little bit earlier throughout this video, and that was this idea of a second year or year 2 for a Call of Duty game. Now, Black Ops 3 marks the first time that Activision allowed a Call of Duty game to release major DLC content past its core DLC season, past its traditional 1-year lifespan as every Call of Duty has lived through. So my channel also went through this little transition as well. At first I was thinking, okay, well this year, since I'm not going to be playing Infinite Warfare, the game's a piece of shit, I'll probably just play Modern Warfare Remastered and focus on other games leading up to the release of Call of Duty World War II. Those are my thoughts at first, but as Treyarch confirmed in December that we'd be getting new updates and new content 2017 for multiplayer and zombies, I was thinking to myself, wait a second, this allows me to continue playing a game that I love, a game that I don't feel finished with just yet. So I can give my channel what I'll consider year 2 for Black Ops 3. I can post content that I wasn't able to post last year when I was busy making my DLC coverage for Black Ops 3. I can post more class setups that I really wanted to do. I can post many more streams of multiplayer that I really wanted to do. I can go for high rounds on zombie maps and stream that. So much that I can do, which essentially became my new plan for my channel leading up to Call of Duty World War II. So I skipped Infinite Warfare. First time I skipped a Call of Duty ever in my life. And the next Call of Duty I play will of course be World War II. But throughout this summer, not only will I be posting a lot of content for Black Ops 3, but I'll also be going back to Modern Warfare Remastered. And don't get me wrong, I do play the game here and there. I played the Variety Map Pack, uploaded a great video for that, I'll leave it down below. But in terms of posting content for it and streaming it, I'll be doing that later on throughout the summer as well. And I'll probably go back to Advanced Warfare just for the fuck of it, and just for fun, leading up to Sledgehammer's next title, World War II of course. So that's kind of my plan at the moment. Expect plenty of streams here on my channel of not just the new zombie maps, and some of the old ones as well, but also fucking around with the melee weapons in multiplayer. So once again, thank you guys so much for watching this video. It feels great to be back. It feels amazing to be making commentaries again. I'm so happy school is finally over with so I can edit and post some phenomenal content here for you guys on my channel. In terms of DLC 5, aka Zombies Chronicles, I really hope you guys enjoyed the fantastic gameplay I threw in the background of all 8 remasters. Like I said, this video is really meant to not only tell you guys how much I love this map pack and how great it is by showing you gameplay and talking about the community, but also breaking down all the latest information in regards to Black Ops 3 and Zombies here for you guys as well. Treyarch really threw it out of the park and honestly delivered something they didn't have to. They didn't have to give us DLC 5. We begged for it and they delivered. They didn't have to do that. They're so passionate about our community. They love delivering and bringing us new content for as long as they can. They honestly did as much as they possibly could with this beautiful map pack with the time they were given as they are currently developing Call of Duty 2018. Just think about that for a second. They've been developing an entirely new Call of Duty ever since Black Ops 3 released in late 2015, on top of developing 4 fantastic map packs and adding new content to multiplayer every single month. That's a lot of fucking work just for our community. And our community has been considered toxic for many years now, but that's why I'm so hard on saying that we shouldn't be hating and complaining about the dumbest fucking things to Treyarch when they put in so much work when they really don't have to. They don't have to do DLC 5. and they probably won't do it again for a while. But this was a nice surprise, worth every fucking penny, as I said, and really brings people up to speed for those of us who haven't played and enjoyed the crisp and nostalgic gameplay that comes with these 8 zombie maps, on top of catching up to speed on the zombie storyline altogether, how the Easter eggs worked before, how the storyline is furthered through each Easter egg, and so forth. DLC 5 is currently available on all platforms and costs $29.99. Hope you guys have enjoyed. This has been dkdynamite, and enjoy the rest of the gameplay. See you soon.
Strike was weak.
What, is break time over now?
Alright, I'll get up on it.
I can still fight!
Ah, shit.
This